I'm Willis, as you may know. I didn't do a whole lot while I was at Kumoricon, which Kumoricon 2014, that ended about a month ago now. But it was my first anime convention ever, and it was quite an experience, I will tell you something. I was not able to get there in time for the speed dubbing at 10:30. That was way too early. I got there at 10:30, so it was already too late. There were a lot of cosplayers. In fact, I have a Facebook album of all the cosplayers that I deemed. Then at noon, that the first day, day one, was Chuck Huber, um, with filmmaking with Chuck Huber, and that was actually more filmmaking than I thought was going to actually be discussed in that panel, because apparently people go to voice actor panels just to be general QA panels instead of actually trying to learn something from them. And there was a bit of that, but there was also just general like filmmaking stuff, but it was like basic stuff like how do you film a conversation. Basically had to hang around out front to wait for my cousin to get in because he didn't pre-register and ended up waiting in line for 3 or 4 hours. So that sucked. But we did go to Anime Jeopardy, which I'm sure they've talked all about. It was hilarious. There was a lot of cipher references. There were people very confused and scared by it. It was hysterical for me. Funny enough, my cousin didn't go to see Anime Jeopardy for whatever reason. I told him this is where the Anibros are and this is where we're going to hang out, but no, he was just like, I don't want to. Sucks for him. So immediately after that, I got to see a Super Sentai panel. I really wish I could have spoken with the person running that panel more, because it would have been nice to have talked to somebody about tokusatsu for once. Then we got to, it was the budgeting one, wasn't it? Budgeting 101. That shit was stupid. But not only were they cosplaying, they were acting like their characters. And that guy who was dressed as the guy from Black Butler, whenever anyone spoke up, he would give candy to them. Honestly, I would have gotten sick of that after a while. And indeed I did. I got sick of sitting there at the panel for a while, so I left. And I went out to what I thought and was hoping to be a much better panel than it was. Big World Small Fandom, I think is called. Those people there were like Doctor Who people, and they were talking about things like friggin' Hitalia not being as big as it used to, or Homestuck not being as big as it used to. And once again, anyone who mentioned a fandom that they were a part of, they gave them candy. It was not as good candy as the one that I was at the Budgeting 101 panel, but it was still candy. I tried to pitch in with things that were a little bit more obscure, like, how about Berserk? It's brutal being a fan of Berserk. But of course, no, they didn't give me candy for that. They ignored me in favor of Yu Yu Hakusho. I was planning on going to the Yuri panel, but that didn't pan out because, whatever, gay male, guy on guy shows. This yaoi manga I read was actually really good. Oh, there was a pro bending tournament. For those of you who've watched Legend of Korra, pro bending used to be a thing in season 1. Yeah, I watched 8 teams basically play dodgeball. I couldn't see fucking anything from where I was sitting. I doubt you could from anywhere, because those... This is an event that really does need, like, raised seating, not flat on the floor while you have this big ring around the players, so you can't see them. This one was the most depressing one of the con. The other side of the mic with Stephanie Shea, Bryce Pappenbrook, and Patrick Sates. I think one fan basically asked, do you guys ever see yourselves, like, are you not as interested in anime as you were before? Like, do you think you will stop working in anime? Stephanie Shea said, I've actually been thinking about it, because she ended up blaming a lot of, like, piracy stuff. The very fact that they can't make back their money off of something that really should be a very low-budget affair is kind of annoying. And after that was Life of an Artist with Karen Strassman, who I do very greatly admire. It didn't really tell me like how to like work as an artist in any practical sense. It just sort of was a stereotypical follow your dreams kind of deal. After that was an Aegis sub panel run by, surprisingly, the same person who did the Super Sentai panel. I was not able to be there for the whole thing, but I mean, if you want to know how to do subtitles for stuff, that's how you can do it. I went to Stephanie Shea's Sailor Moon panel because if you haven't heard this before, Viz Media has relicensed all of Sailor Moon. It was just general talking about stuff working with being Sailor Moon. And then we got to what I did for most of that day, which was shopping. The first thing I got was this. I don't know if you can see that very well, but this is Puella Magi Kazumi Magica. This is a spin-off of Madoka that apparently features completely new characters and just the same general concept and idea, but like a completely different cast and a completely different story. I've only read one of these so far, and it's okay. I'm not really digging it so much because it kind of has the same problem I had with Puella Magi Oriko Magica, which was like a which was like a 2-volume miniseries that was like an alternate timeline with some other characters, is that the art... Actually, I think this might also apply to the manga adaptation of Madoka itself, is that the art style of a manga doesn't really lend itself to the very creative, very visually arresting sequences that were in Madoka, where you can barely see what's going on in them. I did actually get all of them. I got all 5 volumes here, so I mean, I just figured I might as well because they were all there. My personal favorite thing that I got from there, or at least the one that I've actually been able to do stuff with, the one that I've actually gotten the most, like, this Homura doll. It's this Homura plushie doll. As you can see, she's doing her little hair flip thing. It's not really very obvious, and I can't really move her hand very much to show you. She's very stoic, very big-eyed, very magical girly. And, like, what about this is, like, inappropriate? But there's really nothing about this doll in particular that's so very, like, bad for kids. And before you ask about, like, well, maybe she has, like, super revealing panties or something, like, no. There's just a black void. So, I mean, whatever. That's Homura for you. I also had a Kyubey doll, but here's the thing about that. I lost it. And I told myself, you know, that's a lot of Madoka stuff. I should probably get something that's a little bit more... It is a model kit of the mass production Evangelion units from the end of Evangelion. It's a model kit, which I've never had one of these before. And I think I may have gotten a little bit too big for my britches here because I don't know what the hell to do with any of this. This is too much stuff. And from what I can tell, there are not enough stickers for everything on this model kit. There's not enough here. I'm thinking maybe I need to, like, paint this or something, but I don't know. I also need, like, trimmers or something. Oh! Is that... Oh my god, there are black pieces in here. Oh, thank God. I thought I was going to have to paint literally everything. Wait. Are there black pieces on... no. Apparently I'm going to need to paint this giant sword here, because I don't see any stickers for that anywhere. Like, this is just, look at these parts, they're like all white. I don't know how this was for you, Laven, when you got your Gundam model kit, but seriously, like, this may be a little bit too advanced for me, so I think I might need some help from someone who knows more about model kits than I do. Then after that, I went to see a movie, because guess what? The same weekend that this con was happening, there was an anime movie being played at a local theater. So I went to go see that, and it was this. Fatima Inverted. It's a pretty not so great poster, I admit, because I have no idea why it's like red and yellow. Those aren't even prominent colors in the movie. Yeah, I heard about the movie because Stephanie Shea kept promoting it, because she was ADR director on that movie. Tried to get Laven to go, but ended up not happening. It was okay. Just, it wasn't great. It wasn't anything like magnificent, but like, it had a lot of like good things about it, and there wasn't really anything about it that I like absolutely hated. It just wasn't particularly like, oh man, this movie got to me, it's so great. It was just, it was okay. And honestly, that was way better than what I was expecting from when I heard the words from the director and writer of Time of Eve, because I hate Time of Eve. That movie sucks. Like, it's terrible. I couldn't stand it. But this movie was okay. I kept looking at my phone, but that was because there was a Kamen Rider panel I wanted to go to, and I was able to go to that. It was the same person who did the Super Sentai one. It was pretty fun, but it was clear that this person was not as familiar with Kamen Rider as she was with Super Sentai. Especially when it came to Gaim. She hated Gaim, which, you know what? That's her opinion. I can respect it. I fucking love Gaim. There was also a Garo panel that I sadly was only able to see about the first 15 minutes of, because Laven offered to hang out for a bit, and I figured this was my last time to see him that weekend, so I kind of had to bail on that panel, which I kind of regret doing, because this panel was super interesting and really cool. Also run by the same person as the Kamen Rider panel. This girl knew her tokusatsu quite well. Laven, I bit the bullet for you. The last day, I do believe I only ended up going to one panel. Tried to get my lost Cube doll again, couldn't find it. The highlight of the entire con was the Aoki Uru panel by Carl Horn, and that was excellent. It basically went over the history of Gainax and their little pet project that they've been meaning to do forever now, called Aoki Uru, or Blue Uru, which was supposed to be sort of a spiritual successor of Royal Space Force. So that was really cool. That was really cool to see. And there was like all this great 90s era art. There was all these production materials that they had for that movie, the ones they've all made over the years. And he even put on like an interview with one of the creative leads of that project from back in 1997, and like it was at once very informative and also strangely hilarious. I can't really even recreate it. It's great. There was a lot of talk about stuff, references to things like Otaku no Video, and just everything that Gainax was, and how influential they were in the 90s, and how they have in recent years been trying to revive the Aoki project. I think the best part is when there was like this 7-minute long music video he put on that was basically a proposed soundtrack piece for the film, put together with a damn near complete storyboard of that movie. Like, it was surprisingly very compelling, and like I couldn't tell what was happening in the storyboards most of the time because it was all in Japanese. But like, damn, this is a movie I really want to see now. And let's hope it ends up happening at some point. But yeah, that was it for me from Kumoricon. It was pretty fun doing pretty fun stuff. This was also kind of a lame con. It wasn't all that great. Maybe I'll have more fun, interesting con experiences in the future. This is Willis from Anibros. Gay male, guy on guy. This yaoi manga I read was actually really good.